Fordham here, and we're going to be talking about simplifying radicals, but we're going to combine two previous videos where we talked about simplifying number radicals and simplifying variable radicals, and we're just going to put them together. So this is kind of the finished product, if you will, of putting them together. So here we have simplify the square root of 16x squared. Well, what you basically do is you just kind of work with the numbers first and then the variables. And you can actually apply the techniques we've been using before, the whole couples go out, singles stay home thing. So for instance, if I were to write this out a bit expanded, off the top of my head, I happen to know that 16 becomes 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, and x becomes x times x. Or, if you're kind of quick with it, you maybe saw that the square root of 16 is 4, and the square root, we did this in a previous video, the square root of x squared is x. So I'm willing to bet our answer's 4x, but I'm going to go through the motions just to keep myself sharp. So we have a couple of 2's here, we have another couple of 2's there, and we have a couple of x's. So that means I'm going to pull out 1, 2, I'm going to pull out another 2, I'm going to pull out an x. Well, nothing stays home, so I don't need I don't need the radical anymore. And I'm left with 2 times 2, which is 4, and times x, which is x. So if you saw it the quick way, cool. But if you want to keep going through the process, which is what I recommend, it works. Let's take a look at another example. So here we have simplify the square root of 50 times h cubed. So I usually start with the number first, and we're going to go ahead and break down the factors of 50. Now that's 5 and 10. 5's prime, but 10's not, so we have to keep going. 2 and 5. 2's prime. 5's prime. We're done. So we're going to go ahead and rewrite this as 2 times 5 times 5. And then I need 3 h's. So 1, 2, 3. And just like we were doing before, what I'm going to do is break it down by couples. So we have a couple of 5's. We have a couple of h's. So I'm going to pull out a 5, and then I'm going to pull out an h. And what stays home, we have a 2 that stayed home, and we have an h that stayed home. None of that really cleans up, so there's our answer. We're done. Let's take a look at one more example. This one's going to be a little bit trickier, a little more involved. So here we have simplify the square root of 120, x to the 4th, h to the 5th. Ooh, there's a lot going on there. Again, start with the number. It's always your easier bet. And this would be 10 and 12 would be a good place to start. That's not prime, so we're going to keep going. Oh, forgot to scratch it out. So we're going to be left with 2 and 5. Well, both of those are prime, so we're done with that part of the branch. And this would be 3 and 4. 3's prime, 4's not, so we have to keep going. So that gives me 2 and 2. Awesome. So I'm going to write it over here because I have a feeling I'm going to need a lot of space on this one. So we can write it off as 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Whew. And just because I have a funny feeling I'm going to need all this space, I'm going to go ahead and erase. Just because. Okay. So we need 4 x's. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we need 5 h's. See, I wasn't kidding. I really did need all that space. All right. Whew, that's a lot to write for one square root. Okay, same thing as before. Couples go out, singles stay home. So I can pull out a couple of 2's. Nope. Okay. I can pull out a couple of x's. I can pull out another couple of x's. I can pull out a couple of h's and another couple of h's. Cool. So we're going to pull out a 2, an x, another x, an h, and another h. And then what's going to stay home is 2, a 3, a 5, and an h. And just to clean it all up, because again, you want to make it look nice. I know that mathematically this isn't wrong, but yeah, it's good to make it look nice. So we're going to have 2. We have 2 x's, so that's x squared. We have 2 h's, so that's h squared. And on the inside, we can do some simple math. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 5 is 30. And the h stays there. So when we simplify it, it becomes 2x squared h squared times the square root of 30H. Thanks for watching.